In this tutorial we're going to be learning how to crochet a border onto your hexagon blanket. If you're looking for the rest of the tutorials in this series about making a hexagon blanket, I'll link them down in the description for you. In today's tutorial we're going to be learning all 3 rounds of this border. The first round is a round of back loop single crochet, then we've got a round of double crochet, and then we're going to finish off with a round of a stitch called reverse single crochet or crab stitch to get this lovely twisted edging. So here is the sample that I've made up for this tutorial, and we're going to join our yarn for the border in the top right corner of the blanket, specifically this one and not this one. So we're going to be starting here, so I'm going to zoom in and then I'll show you what we're doing in this corner. So round 1 is worked in the back loop only of the stitch. Usually when we make crochet stitches we go under both of the loops at the top of the stitch, but for this round we're only going to be putting our hook into the back loop, and that goes for all of the stitches we're going to make in round 1. So we're going to join our colour for the border to the second chain of this corner and only through the back loop of that chain. So I'm joining my yarn under that loop there. Then to join my yarn I'm just going to lay my yarn tail across my hook and pull up a loop. I then like to crochet over the top of my tail, so I'm going to hold that tail alongside these stitches. Start round 1 of the border, first make a chain of 1, this does not count as a stitch. Now make a single crochet back into that same stitch, so that back loop of the second chain of the corner. Now work a back loop single crochet into each stitch across in the next 9 stitches. So all the way along this side of the hexagon until we reach this corner, and you need to work 1 back loop single crochet into that first chain and then stop and come back to this tutorial. So I'm just working that final back loop single crochet into that first chain of that chain 2 corner of the hexagon. Now work a chain 2 corner space. Then work a single crochet into the next chain of that chain 2 corner, remember in the back loop only. So in there. Now work a back loop single crochet in the next 8 stitches. So I've worked those 8 single crochet, and then my next stitch, if we look, is a chain at the corner of this blue hexagon, and then over here we've got a chain over here that's not been sewn through on the orange hexagon. So what we're going to do across those 2 chain stitches is a decrease called single crochet 2 together. It's abbreviated as SC2 tog, and I'll show you how to do it step by step if you've not come across this decrease before. So put your hook into the back loop only of that first chain of the blue hexagon corner, so there. Then yarn over and pull up a loop. You should now have 2 loops on your hook. Now put your hook into the back loop only of the second chain of the orange hexagon's corner, so in that loop there. You should now have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on your hook. So that there was a single crochet 2 together decrease. So now we're going to repeat these steps across the zigzag side of the blanket. So work a single crochet in the back loop of each stitch until you reach the next corner space. So here I am at the corner, and when you reach a corner space, work a back loop single crochet into the first chain, chain 2, and then a back loop single crochet into the second chain. I can get my hook in. Then a back loop single crochet in each stitch until you reach sort of the bottom part of the zigzag. So I've made those back loop single crochets, and my next stitch is now this corner space. So we're going to do what we did over here, and we're going to do that single crochet 2 together decrease. So put your hook into the back loop of the chain of the orange hexagon, yarn over, pull up a loop, then put your hook into the back loop of the chain of the grey hexagon, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops on your hook. So continue along with this zigzag side of the blanket until you reach this corner down here where we're about to transition onto the straight side of the blanket, and I will meet you here. So I've finished working along the zigzag side of my blanket, and I've just worked this final corner the same as we've done for these corners, with that single crochet in the back loop of the first chain, chain 2, single crochet in the back loop of the second chain. And we're now about to start doing the single crochets along this straight side of the blanket. So work a back loop single crochet into every stitch until we reach this half hexagon. Your final back loop single crochet should be in that first chain of the grey hexagon there. So do that and I'll meet you here. So I've done all of those back loop single crochet. To work along the side of the half hexagon, we're going to be working 2 single crochet around the post of the edge stitches at the side of the hexagon. So I'm going to be putting my hook between the first 2 stitches of this last row of the half hexagon, so my hook's going underneath that whole stitch there. I'm going to make a single crochet into that space, and then a second single crochet into that same space. Now repeat this down the half hexagon until you reach this center section, and I'll meet you there. So there are my 2 single crochet into the side of each of those 4 rows, and I'm at the sort of the chain ring where we started that half hexagon. And what you're going to do is make a single crochet into that chain ring. So I'm putting my hook in there to make a single crochet. Then I'm going to repeat those steps along this second half of the half hexagon, working 2 single crochet around the edge stitch of each of these rows, and then I'll meet you back over here. Once you've made all of those single crochets into the side of the half hexagon, you're then going to repeat the same thing we did down here for the side of the hexagon by working back loop single crochets into each stitch along the side of the hexagon. The first stitch on each of these whole hexagons should be the second chain of that corner, and then the last stitch should be the first chain of the corner. So repeat those steps all the way along your straight side of your blanket. Yours will be a lot longer than my short little sample here, but continue those steps all the way along. And then we're going to repeat what we've done on this zigzag side of the blanket over here on this side, and then the same steps on the straight side down here. So finish that round, and I'll meet you back at the end of round 1 once you've made it all the way around your blanket. So I finished working all the way around my blanket, and now I'm back at that first corner. To finish off this corner, we're going to do those same corners that we did in our hexagons, where we work 1 chain only and then do a single crochet into the top of that first stitch, and that single crochet counts as the second chain of our chain 2 corner. This next round is going to be double crochet, and it's going to be double crochet through both loops. We're no longer going to be doing any back loop stitches. Those back loop stitches were just so we get this nice defined edge on our hexagons. To start round 2, start with a chain of 3. This counts as your first double crochet stitch. Then work a double crochet into the next 10 stitches until you reach a corner space. So I've worked those 10 double crochets, and my next stitch is the corner chain 2 space here. Into that space work 1 double crochet, chain 2, 1 double crochet. And that's what you're going to do whenever you reach one of these chain 2 corner spaces as you go around your blanket. Now work a double crochet into the next 8 stitches. So I've worked those 8 double crochets, and I've actually now got 1 stitch before that single crochet 2 together decrease we did on the last round. And we're going to be doing another decrease, but a different decrease to this one. The decrease we're going to do next is double crochet 3 together. That's also known as a DC3 tog stitch in patterns. So to make a DC3 tog, yarn over, put your hook into the first stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. We've made a partial double crochet here. Now work a partial double crochet into the next 2 stitches. So yarn over, put your hook into the stitch. This one should be that decrease stitch. Yarn over, pull up a loop. Yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, put your hook into the next stitch. Yarn over, pull up a loop. Yarn over, pull through 2. You should now have 4 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through all 4 loops. So that stitch there is a double crochet 3 together. We've turned 3 stitches down here into 1 stitch up here. So now repeat these steps along the zigzag side of your blanket, working a double crochet into each of the stitches until you reach a corner space. In the corner space we work 1 double crochet, chain 2, 1 double crochet, then do 8 double crochets, and then do that, decrease that double crochet 3 together stitch here. And repeat this along the zigzag side of your blanket, and then when you get to a straight side of your blanket, all you need to do is work 1 double crochet into each of these stitches. So this round is much easier than the last round. So repeat those steps all the way around your blanket, and I'll meet you back at this corner for round 3. So I've finished working my double crochet all the way around my blanket, and now I'm back here at the first corner where we started. Work 1 double crochet back into that first space that we made. And then for this final corner space, we're not going to be doing the same corner as we've done previously with a chain 1 and a single crochet. That's because of the way that the stitch we're going to be using in round 3 will work. So instead work 2 chains and then slip stitch into the top of the starting chain. So the stitch we're going to be doing for round 3 to create this really neat edging is called reverse single crochet or crab stitch, and it's worked just how the name suggests. We're going to be working single crochet in reverse. So usually as a right-handed crocheter, when we crochet our stitches, we crochet in this direction, so from right to left. However, for reverse single crochet, we're going to make single crochets exactly the same way we would, but we're actually going to be working in the opposite direction, so from left to right. And this can feel really strange when you first do it, and I also recommend going up a hook size or 2 if this is your first time doing the stitch. I'm experienced in it, so I'm going to be using the same sized hook. So start round 3 with a chain of 1, and then we're going to work a single crochet into that chain space. So work this stitch loosely, so take your hook, put it into that chain 2 space, yarn over and pull up a loop, and pull this loop up a bit further than you normally would so it's quite long and loose. Then yarn over and pull through both loops on your hook. So that's a reverse single crochet. What this does is it kind of twists the stitch, which gives that edging that sort of twisted look. So I've worked 1 reverse single crochet into that chain 2 space. So to make the second reverse single crochet, we're going to be working into this stitch here, so the next stitch to the right. So put your hook into that stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, and keep pulling so it's a little bit longer than a normal single crochet. Yarn over and pull through both loops on your hook. You can see that twist starting to form there. Now put your hook into the next stitch to the right, so this stitch here, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2. And again, put your hook into the next stitch to the right, yarn over and pull up a loop, and keep pulling a little bit just so it's a nice loose stitch, yarn over and pull through 2. And again, put your hook into the next stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2. And you're going to repeat this all the way around your blanket, working 1 reverse single crochet into every stitch and every chain space when you get to them. And then when you get to the end of the round, come back to this tutorial and I'll show you what we do to fasten off this edge. If you find this reverse single crochet too difficult, don't worry, just do a regular round of single crochet and fasten off as you normally would. So I've almost made it to the end of my blanket, but I've just got 1 last stitch to do a reverse single crochet in, and that's the top of the starting chain. So I find the best way to fasten off reverse single crochet is to take the loop off of your hook, then put your hook into the next stitch, or in this case it happens to be this chain 2 space. Grab that loop and then pull it through, then work a chain 1 and fasten off, and this just continues on that twist for that final corner. So I hope you've enjoyed the tutorials for this hexagon blanket. I'll pop up some more tutorials on your screen now that you might want to try next. I'll see you next time.